The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, welcome to the More Clients Monthly webinar. Thank you for joining me today. Just before we get going and while everyone else joins us, can I just ask a couple of you to confirm that you can hear me? Select if you raise your hand from the GoToMeeting task bar, the flower, there's a little hand icon. If you press that, it just tells me that you're hearing me. Thank you very much, Chris. Good to see you there. Thank you, Elizabeth. That's good. You're obviously hearing me and seeing me, so that's great news. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mark. So great, you're there and you can hear me. So let's crack on with the nitty-gritty, which is all about getting you more clients monthly, how to go from random client generation to automatic client generation, to do that quickly. Because there certainly are ways of doing it in my 20 years of doing this, 20 plus years now, show my age. It's the first birthday I'm coming to next week, which I'm really not looking forward to. It's not necessarily a significant one, but it just strikes me as a number that's just proves I'm very old, but isn't worth celebrating. So that's an aside. So what we're going to do today, look at getting more clients monthly. Get you clients coming to you without having to take all of your time, without you having to do all of the legwork, without you having to work too hard or too fast. And if you get this right, when you get this right, it changes your practice for good and forever, because you're putting in place systems that means things continue to happen for you. So when that happens, that's a very good thing. You've obviously come across me before. I just want to say briefly about me that, please remember, I've done what you're doing now. I've sat there, I've fee earned, I've sat at the desk, I've done the marketing whilst trying to do the fee earning. At one of my firms, I was in charge of the training of a big department. I understand what it's like to sit there and think, I've got to do the work, I've got to look after staff, I've got to do everything else. So I really do empathise with your position, which is why the whole of my business is built around trying to make your lives easier and to make my consultancy clients easier, to make people on my free list life easier, because there's the easy way of doing things and there's the hard way. And I can tell you that 99% of the solicitors out there choose the hard way and make life much harder for themselves than they ever need to do. And I really don't want that to be the case for you, because as my daughter says, YOLO, you only live once, life really is too short. All the other cliches that you might want to throw at this, but it's so true. You can do things the easy way, and that's my job, is to help you and show you exactly how you want to do that. So today I'm going to share with you 3 steps to win more clients, 3 palm trees to win you more clients, and show you what you need to do to make things happen. If you stick with me, I promise you that within these 3 elements, you will find something that will jump off the page at you and make you think, wow, okay, that's useful, didn't realize that, I better start doing that. So if you stick with me, I promise it will be worth it, and at the end I'll show you how you can get the slides and the notes, and also tell you how you can work faster to get where you want to do so, where you want to get to by working with me if you choose to do so. There's no sell, there's no big pitch, so you can listen safely knowing that I'll give you some options at the end, but everything is within your control and within your power. It's not about trying to sell you something you don't need. It's about trying to make you, whether you do it with me or without me, trying to make you realize that there is a much better way to get more clients coming to your practice than you might have found so far. So with that in mind, all I want you to do is relax. I will gross you out briefly by telling you that, yes, those are my feet in the picture. I think they're sufficiently shaded that you can't see any great details, but I will give you the slides at the end, as I say. So I want you to listen and think how what we're talking about applies to you. There'll be plenty of time for your questions, so for any time you've got a question, whack it in the GoToMeeting question box on the right-hand side on your GoToMeeting taskbar, and I will come to the questions as soon as I can and get through many of them as I can. If I don't get through them all, I'll come back to them and answer them after. There'll also be a chance for me to look at websites, review your website. So if you've got a website you want to look at, pop in the URL in the questions bar and I'll do a live critique of people's websites at the appropriate time. So it's about giving you answers, so ask me any questions that you want. And with that in mind, one thing I'd really like to get to the nitty-gritty of and perhaps come back to later is what do you find is the biggest challenge for you when it comes to your marketing? What's the hardest part? What is it about generating client instructions for you that you find a real challenge? Is it the whole thing? Is it the word marketing? Is it where to spend the money, what to spend the money on, how to do it, how to choose suppliers? Just pop your questions, pop your thoughts into the questions box for me, and I'll come back to those. But as I say, the more interactive we make this for you, the better it will be and the more value you get from it. So please do join in. I want to start by looking at talking about a solicitor's position who was getting this terribly wrong. Came to the marketing of his business, and he was literally pulling his hair out, because the problem he had was that he didn't put in place any systems at all. Everything was ad hoc. He might one day do a press release, he might one day try and put some content on his website, he might one day do something else. Everything was ad hoc, and guess what? Ad hoc wasn't producing results, because there's nothing marketing rewards better than consistency. Marketing and consistency go hand in hand. If you do something consistently, you will get the results and things will start to happen for you. So every day he was uncertain about what client work was coming in, what he was going to be doing, how he was going to keep his day busy, and he was always chasing this where's the next client coming from problem. The aha moment came when he thought, this is just ridiculous, this is no way to run a business. I'm a sensible, intelligent person, and a sensible, intelligent person wouldn't run a business like this. They would put in place systems, things would be more organized, people would come to him more consistently because he was good at what he did. And the other biggest moment was he didn't want to run his business like every solicitor ran their business, which generally had been very ad hoc, hoping that clients walked through the door, wondering if anyone was going to come through the door the next day. That wasn't a good way to run a business, he decided. So he put in place a system, put in place automatic marketing systems that worked with or without him, that worked consistently, that delivered clients on a regular, consistent basis, and put in place a one-page simple marketing action plan which worked, and started getting consistent results, consistent clients, and never looked back. And that solicitor was me, because I made the mistakes that you would expect a plumber to make when it came to marketing his own business, that I didn't do what I was telling my clients. It was only when I got my own consultant working with me to show me how to systemize my own business that things started to happen. So, as I say, I've been in your place, I've marketed law firms, I've got those working consistently. I failed when I set up my consultancy to do the same for my own business, till someone smacked me around the face with a wet fish and said, Nick, you're making all those mistakes you tell your clients not to make, let's sort this out. So there's a way you can do this, say the easy way, the hard way. I want to share with you the systems I use for myself and for all of my clients' consultancy businesses to make sure that they have a consistent flow of new instructions coming their way. I'm going to share that with you, not give you a huff or puff, but give you practical, useful information. And I want you to, the reason I share my story and embarrass myself about saying I made the mistakes I tell clients not to make is because I don't want you to make these mistakes. I don't want your life to be harder than it needs to be. I don't want you struggling to get the clients coming to your door that you want and deserve to be looking after. I want you to get this right. I want you to get the practice as busy as you need, the profit costs coming through the door and the clients coming through your door. I don't want you to say to me in 2 or 3 years' time, and I'm trying to reach out to people in different ways because I've had so many of my consultancy clients now have come to me and said, why didn't you tell me about what you're doing 3 years ago, Nick? Why didn't you make this obvious to me? Because I don't want you in that position that you have 3 years of struggling before then making changes that make a difference, that suddenly get things working for you. I want you to have the chance to see that there's options, there's opportunities out there for you in terms of things you can do to make your practice better, that you can take now rather than sitting there worrying. And today is all about getting to that point that you want to take action. As I say, with or without me, but the point is you have to do things differently. So let's put this into 3 stages. We've got more people that find you. I want more people to contact you, and I want more people to instruct you. There's 3 very simple parts to this. And the first part is getting more people to find you, because if more people find you, if you're good at what you do, as I expect you are, you'll get more people contacting you, you'll get more client instructions. But I know what you don't want is manual prospecting, trying to pick up the phone all the time. Cold calling is not something for any professional service provider to be doing. You want clients coming to you automatically and consistently. So how are you going to do that? How can you do that whilst managing your practice and make everything happen and get it automated so that it works with or without you? Well, when it comes to finding you quickly and easily and automatically, the biggest answer for you absolutely lies in your website, getting your website working hard for you. Because I've seen it time and time again consistently change the fortunes of a law firm. So if you haven't got this working for you yet, if you don't even have a website, or you're thinking, I don't know what to do with my website, listen on, you'll find more. But it doesn't matter if you don't have a website, you can fix that very quickly. Not having one this day and age, I think, is certainly curtains you at some point if you don't change it quickly. But if you do have one that's not working, we're going to talk about how to make it work quickly and efficiently for you. So what do you need to do to your website? Well, you're going to have to make some changes. I can honestly say that having looked at hundreds of websites in the last year, I've never found one, even some of the bigger law firms who would think would get everything right, they have gaping holes in their websites, massive glaring problems that they haven't addressed and they probably don't realize they've got. And the thing is, making changes to them can significantly improve the performance of these websites. But people see the word change, they think expense, they think hassle, they think stress. But it absolutely doesn't have to be that way. It can be very, very simple. And I'll show you how simple it is. Because the changes I'm sharing with you today don't actually involve a lot of expense, which I think you'll agree is a good thing. So there's two major reasons why you must make sure your website is at least good, but preferably a lot better than good. The first one is that people who are already recommended to you, the first thing they do is they go and jump on your website and check you out. If your website looks really bad, what are the chances of them actually going through and following up and picking up the telephone? Much reduced than if you've got a decent looking website. So there's those people already being recommended to you. So even if you don't believe that you can use your website to generate instructions, making changes to make your website work harder for you is a very sensible thing to do. The second thing is that people will find you. You make these changes I'm going to share with you. People will find your website more. They will like what they see, and they will instruct you. So there's two very good and valid reasons there for you to make these changes. Now, I'm going to ask for a website to look at in a minute. I'm not going to tear it apart. I'm going to give some constructive criticism. So if you like that, please type into the questions box your website details, and I will have a look. And there'll be a couple of opportunities to look at different websites. So I can see some already going in there. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. If you'd like me to come and look at yours, please go ahead and enter the URL in there as well, and I'll take a look. So that's great. Wow, they're flying in thick and fast. Thank you. I'll get to as many as I can. So the reason, I want you to think about the reason websites work so well at generating instructions for solicitors. I do that using a very graphic image for a very specific reason, is that I don't want you to forget this image, because this image on its own could save you thousands and thousands of pounds. There's two types of marketing. There's attraction marketing and there's interruption marketing. And when you understand the difference, it makes your decision to get involved in that process so much more informed, and it can, as I say, save you thousands of pounds. So when you get that call on a Friday at about 4 o'clock telling you there's a deadline at 5 o'clock, and unless you advertise in this publication today and you give them that £1,000 of your hard-earned money, you will miss out on your competitor next door or down the road or opposite you will go in and take your place. Then, once you understand this, you're going to be able to say to those people, no, go away. I'm not spending my money with you. That £1,000 is going somewhere where I know it's going to produce a much better response. So off you go, sell it to the mug down the road. I'm not buying it. And the difference between attraction and interruption marketing, summed up by this picture: the peacock, when he wants to mate, he fans his tail, he looks beautiful, the lady comes to him. That's my kind of marketing. You get people coming to you without having to do too much work. I can fan my tail, that's okay, I can do that. The elephant, bit less subtle, just chases after, does the business, job done. Interruption marketing. The female elephant is going about her business, might be thinking about doing the washing later, whatever goes on in a female elephant's mind. The male comes along and says, no, I'll tell you what we'll do, here we go. So when it comes to your marketing, the reason your website works well is because a client has made a conscious decision to find a solicitor to help them with their current problem, whatever that problem is: conveyancing, wills, probate, business services. They're looking for their solicitor. They go online, they're in a buying frame of mind in terms of legal services. They type in solicitor followed by type of law they need help with. They find your website. They like what they see on your website. If you follow what we're going to do today, they pick up the phone, get in touch with you. Bang, you've got a client. Okay, that is attraction marketing at its best. If you're talking about newspaper advertising or advertising in other people's brochures or anything else, that is interruption marketing, where you've got to stop someone doing what they're doing already and make them do something completely different than they were thinking about. So it's a much harder concept to follow through, and it's one of the reasons why I think the quality solicitors in shopping centres didn't work, because people had gone on a retail shopping experience. They weren't thinking, well, while I'm out, I'll sort my will out and I'll put in a personal injury claim. It's a completely different process. Buying legal services is an informed and thought out decision, so I need time to find the right person for me. I go online, I look around, and that's exactly what I do. This is why website marketing works so well, and having a good website is absolutely vital for solicitors these days. So that's the why, and why you need your website working for you. Now let's talking about the two jobs of your website. You'll see how I've used the Apple logo there for Steve Jobs. And the reason I like Steve Jobs is, if you've read his book, clearly had a lot of personal issues, which is saying the least. If you read it, he wasn't the greatest family man, and but he did teach me a lot about business and his attention to detail, which is often one of my weaknesses, having come from a legal background where it was every day. I fought against it since leaving the law, but it does make a big difference to your marketing when you do get stuck into the nitty-gritty. And I've got I went on those toes I showed you at the beginning on the beach. I had a family holiday in Barbados, and it was there I finished off Steve Jobs' autobiography, and came up with some great ideas. And one of the things I did was, there was a guy making T-shirts on the beach, and my daughter got one of One Direction. My son got one of cricket, which I preferred. I got one of Steve Jobs' face with one of their best strap lines for marketing, which was "Think Different" underneath it. And the reason being that when it comes to marketing, a problem that most solicitors have is they do exactly what their competitors are doing, and by and large that's not a lot. And it's certainly not enough in this current marketplace. It's not enough to do not a lot. You do have to be different. You do have to be more proactive than your counterpart solicitors. You do have to get out there and to do more. So thinking differently about your marketing is vital. And I had a wonderful moment on holiday with my daughter when we were doing this land and sea race, in that I always try and give a little lesson. She's 14 now, and she's growing up far too quickly for my liking. But we did this race where I rowed, she jumped off the boat, ran over the cliffs, and I rowed back and met her at the other side of the beach. She jumped on the boat, and we raced back to the finish line. And everyone else is at one part in the middle of the sea, and I took the completely opposite angle. And my daughter said, well, if they're all doing that, shouldn't we be doing that too? We might miss out. And I said, great, thanks for asking me that question, Max. I said, this is definitely one of those situations where if we're over there, we're going to get stuck with their oars, we're going to have crashes, it's going to be really difficult to get ahead of anyone. We're over here, we've got our own path through, no one's going to get in our way. I think it'll work better. It's a bit further, but I trust my rowing expertise. And sure enough, we were one of the first, if not the first, to the slipway when she jumped off. So it drove it home to her, and I hope that illustrates the point to you that you've got to think differently. You've got to do things differently from your competitors out there. So the two jobs of your website, one of them is to attract more visitors, and the second one is to turn those visitors into new clients. Two really simple jobs, and there's really easy ways to make that happen for you. So let's go and have a look at someone's website. Let's go to the first one. On my list, Mark Cook. Hello, Mark. And one of the first things about the website is content is key. Okay, so when it comes to your website, what you need is plenty of content on the website for Google to know what it's about and for your visitors to know what it's about. So when I come here, I can see that I know that Google's magic number is about 400 words, and I can tell there's probably, if I'm lucky, there's 100 there. Now it's a home page, so that's slightly different. You've got to remember that most people come to your website from some of your internal pages rather than the home pages. I'm glad I put Mark up first. I didn't realize that was there, but your website Genie, as it's now called, is one of our tools to help increase the number of inquiries you get from your website. So if someone's on your website and it doesn't have an inquiry form, after 30 seconds this pops up and says, do you want help? Yes or no. If you click yes, you get to ask a question and then put in your name and email address. And it generates inquiries that you might otherwise miss because the person on your site is thinking, shall I go there? Not sure. What am I going to do? On this site, content is key. Let's go back to that point. It's all about content. So on most of our pages, if we go to conveyancing, we need at least 400 words. So the biggest improvement that Mark can make here is to put more content on each of these pages. And to have the content displayed in different ways. What I really like is it's nice, clean design. The bullet points here are excellent. People read content in different ways. So some people look at bullet points, headlines, subheadings. Other people want the details. So we've got to appeal to all of these different people. And most importantly, we've got to appeal to Google. If we haven't got 400 words or more on each page, we're going to struggle to get enough content for Google to work out what this page is about. I've got a lot of pages here. Let me have a look at another one. And see what we've got here. So let's go into a type of case. Let's go to holiday accidents. And again here, issue we've got is there's not 400 words there. There might be 200, 250, but no more. So content is king. One of the first jobs is, remember, is to get people to your website. So we need 400 words or more. People have to work out exactly what the page is all about. That's a noise. Let me have a look. Can I just check? Can you raise your hand if you can still hear me? There's a loud noise there that I've not heard before. I want to check you're still all there. Thank you, Steve. Much appreciated. So you can still hear me. That's good. I shall carry on as normal. So getting visitors to your website, we want more content, and we want bullet points, and we want subheadings. So we've got nice subheadings. I think it was Shire's Law with their pop-up. We've got nice subheadings here telling me about what I can do. We've got nice bullet points. We've got more content on this page. The only thing we haven't got, I'll come back to later, will be a stronger call to action at the end. So content is king. Let me just shut that. That's their pop-up box. So the other thing that we need is behind the scenes. Let me go to another website. Try and get through as many of these as I can for you. So if we go to, let's go somewhere different. Let's go to driving offences. And content, good, well done on here, plenty of content. I'd make the calls to action stronger. As I say, we'll come back to that. But if you want to see what's going to be displayed, if someone types into Google driving offences, which this page is all about, as we've got in the headline here, what are they going to see in Google? Let's go to right-click and view page source, shows you what's behind the page. And you can see the title here. This is the most important part of the back side of your content. And you don't need to be able to code it yourself, but you do need to be able to tell someone what to put there. And if I went to Google and put in driving offences now, which I've just done, I get these search results up here. Now, Google's nicely put the government at the top, and we've got drivingban.co.uk. But the reason that title is important is because this will be displayed here by Google. So on the website here, Clifford Johnston, all that will be shown is driving offences Clifford Johnston. Now the firm name doesn't matter to me as a potential client looking for you at this moment in time. The firm name isn't important because I'm just looking for a solicitor to help me with driving offences. So what that should say is a much better sales page. So it should be driving offences, free inquiries, or driving offences, expert legal assistance. And then the description, which should be underneath the title, should be your sales patter, which goes in there. And the job of that is to get me to click through to your website and to get in touch with you. So I can see immediately, the back of that website needs changes, which will make it better. So those jobs, in terms of making that website work harder, there's plenty of work to do for each of those websites that I've looked there, and that's just a quick look. There'll be even more there. So content is crucial on your website. Getting more content on there makes a substantial difference, and putting it in the right way and putting enough content and putting the titles and descriptions behind it will make a massive difference to the website and success of it. And for example, I have a client who is a sole practitioner, doesn't need a lot of work to keep him busy, but was getting absolutely nothing from his website. Nothing was coming through, no inquiries. So what he did was what I told him to do, which was to add more content to his website, make the changes that I talked to you about there, and within 3 days, it was that quick because his website had been around for a while. He started to get his inquiries from his website, and he continued to get inquiries from his website. It was that simple. The content accounts for about 40 to 60% of any traffic coming to your website, and Google's made changes that make content even more important. So if you're light on content on your website, you, like this solicitor, by changing that content, by putting more content on there, can make a massive difference. And if you're struggling with content, then part of my job is I've got suppliers as marketing for solicitors members or consultancy clients. You get access to my suppliers, people that can write this content for you, because there's people that can do everything I'm going to talk to you about today, There's people that can do every aspect of it for you at a fraction, a tiny, tiny fraction of your hourly rate. And being as kind as I can honestly say the biggest hindrance to most of my legal clients is themselves, getting in the way of letting other people do things, thinking they have to do everything, they have to control everything, and yet as soon as they finally get my message, which is don't do any of it, get someone else doing it with you and manage them, that's when they start to see success and start to see results. Because when you say to a supplier, I want you to write 400 pages of copy for these 5 pages, and you get it back within a week, and you send that to your web guy who for £10 puts those pages up, and then the next week you're getting more traffic to your website, that's results. That's what can happen. When you are in the middle and when you're stopping this process, you are really damaging your practice. So that's why I always bang on about, or try and educate you, that being in control of this is not a good thing for you to do. You want to be away from this as far as you possibly can. So you can have website results like that as well. The question is, will you? Will you make the changes, or will you think, well, that's good, Nick. Yeah, I know I should do that, but I'm going to go back and do everything the same way, and I'm going to just do what I always do, and that'll be fine. But if your website doesn't have enough content, or it's not in the right format, you need to make those changes, and you need to do that so that you can get the results you want for your practice. The whole point today is to get you more clients on a monthly basis. Making those sorts of changes will achieve that. Some pages will be more successful than others. You don't know until you try, but let me tell you that it will make a substantial difference. What would that difference be to you if you made those changes and you started getting just 1 new client a month, or 2 new clients a month, or 5 new clients a month in the next couple of weeks? Would that be an improvement for your practice? Let me know. Type your thoughts into the question box. Let me know what you're thinking, whether you're thinking, gosh, Nick, you're right, I do need to do that, or no, I think I'm fine. Use me. This is the time you've got to use me. So please, what are you thinking? What's that made you think about? Has it made you think, I'm doing okay, or no, I really need to sort this out better. I need to spend more time putting more content on my website. Please do let me know. I'm here for you, and I want this to be as interactive and useful as possible for you. The more you get involved, the better. So you have that choice. Do things the way you've done them until now, get the same or reducing results as they seem to be at the moment, or change things, make improvements, and make things happen in a different way, and in a consistent way, in an automated way that starts bringing you new clients going forward. And it is completely your choice. You always have the choice to change your business. You have the choice to keep it as it is, but if you're on this webinar and you're looking for ways to change it, then this is a good place to start. I need you to make changes. I need your website to be better. I need you to get more clients coming through the door and instructing you, because without solicitors being in practice, I don't have a business, and I don't want everyone to have to go to a faceless law firm. I don't believe that's the best legal solution available to them. So I want you to make the choice to do things differently and to make these improvements to your business, because I want you to get these more clients monthly, consistently, on an ongoing basis. Anyone have any questions? Anyone out there? Anyone like to ask me anything? Anything marketing related at all? I charge a lot for this information. You might not think so, but I do. So if you've got questions, I'd really urge you to use the time that you've got with me now. But as I've got nothing coming in at this moment, let me move on to stage 2. But bear that in mind. If anything comes to your mind, and then let me know. Someone has typed in something. Thank you very much indeed. It says, in less than 30 minutes, you've given me many ideas and useful info that I'm sure will generate new clients. Just off the small points I've covered so far. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And that's what I like to do. That's what I like to do. I'm eating my sandwich. No hands, sorry. I do forget it's lunchtime, so I fully understand that lots of you will be eating sandwiches, and thank you for letting me know. But I'm glad you're still there, and I hope you're enjoying your sandwich. I hope it's nice. Do I think having a blog on a website would help generate new clients? Yes. In short, yes. Nearly every, I've got a blog on my website, regularly blog. Nearly every client that I work with has a blog, and you generally find that the blog accounts for as much as 30 to 40% of visitors to the website. So if you think about that, 30 to 40%, if you haven't got a blog, you're missing out. And we don't. My firm used to web design. We don't generally do that. We help our marketing solicitors and my consultancy clients out, so we can fit a blog for less than £500 or about £500. We don't generally offer that as a service, but I'm basically saying to you, it's not an expensive thing to get done, but it does make a difference to the number of traffic coming to your website. So that's useful to know. Someone's asked how much does a web designer charge. But the beauty of web design, and as I say, I've learned about this from inside and out, is that you could pay £500 for a website, or you can pay £10,000 for a website. I've seen people pay £10,000 and get a worse website than someone's paid about £1,000, £2,000. On average, I would say you should be looking to spend between £1,000 to £3,000, and you'll get enough. You'll get a good enough website. You'll be able to update it, change it, add content to it. You'll get massive improvements. And again, we recommend suppliers, or we can sometimes help some of our clients out if our developers got time. So it doesn't have to break the bank. And if you think about the service you sell, if you haven't got a good website, it's not generating anything for you now. Spend £1,000, and in a few months' time, it takes time to get the new website up and going. In a few months' time, you could have a website that's bringing in 1, 2, 3 clients a month. That will have paid for your website in month 1, 2, or 3. So that's the most important thing I can say to you. It doesn't cost a lot, but you absolutely must be getting client instructions for your website. I've got some more questions coming in, which I'll come to shortly. In the meantime, let's go on to point 2, because I'm conscious of time, and sandwich eating time is diminishing. So the second part of your job now is to get more people to contact you, more people to get in touch, and I'll come back to a couple of those other websites that I was given earlier. But I want you to think about the current problem you've probably got on your website, because it's on the websites I looked at earlier, and it's on most websites that I look at. And it leaves people feeling like that poor gorilla. They're scratching their head and thinking, what on earth's going on? And if you imagine someone puts into their sat-nav, they're traveling from Bristol, say where I am, they want to go and see the Queen in Buckingham Palace, they put in the postcode of Buckingham Palace into their sat-nav. Everything goes well, they start off on the M5, get onto the M4 very quickly, and soon they're on the A4 heading into London. They go out the flyover, they go past the GlaxoSmithKline building at Brentford and past Hammersmith. And just as they start to get towards central London, the sat-nav says, right, off you go then. You can find the rest of the way. I've got you this far. Go and do the rest yourself. You can imagine the expletives that would fall out of most people's mouths at that point if they were just dumped on the edge of central London. Yet the problem is happening on your website. I can almost guarantee it now. Someone's finding your website. They're liking what they read because you put all that great content I told you about on before. They're liking what they read. They're thinking, this is good. We like the sound of this. And then you leave them hanging. You don't tell them what to do next. I can, as I say, always guarantee that that's what's happening at the moment, and we'll look at that in a minute. But just think of the consequences of that. You've got someone that is, as I said, they're a motivated buyer. They've typed into Google, I need someone to help me with this legal problem. They've come to your website, they've liked what they've seen, and then they go, dude, what am I supposed to do next? The assumption solicitors make is, well, they'll obviously find my contact page and get in touch. But the reality is, that's not what they're going to do. They won't take that action. They want you to guide them through the whole process and to make this absolutely simple for them. You have to tell them exactly what you want them to do, and you have to tell them on every single page of your website, because if you don't, they will go somewhere else, leave your website, and then will instruct another solicitor. And you might think I'm being crazy here, but certainly not. This happens so frequently that clients are left wondering exactly what they should do. So let's have a look at someone else's website. Okay, I'm just doing, I've been there, haven't I? onelawsolicitors.co.uk. We are loading, we are in, we've got people. So let's go, let's say we're looking for some help with family law. And we come to this page and we've got family law, sensitive, sympathetic and efficient. So we're talking about the client. I might say that we should probably talk about the client a bit more before we mention the firm name. So we turn it around to be all about the client, but that's not the part we're coming through now. Copywriting's an extended thing. We get down to the bottom here and we think, well, this firm sounds okay. What do I do next? There's no definitive instruction. I can go over here and find, and I can put in an inquiry, which is good. I'm glad to see that there. But the calls to action need to be repeated at all parts of the website, because if you think about a client's journey, they will look at maybe 1, 2, or 3 pages of a website, and that is it, if you're lucky. The average is probably about 2. So if I've gone to the home page, then I've come here, and I think that sounds okay. I want to be told exactly what I've got to do next. And if that's not happening to me, off I go, back to my search, onto the next website. Let's look at another one. Because, please don't think that the things I'm pointing out to you mean your website's no good. That's not the case. I'm just trying to show you ways that this can be improved, which is a good thing. So if we look at BBH Legal, let's go to Wills and Probate for something different. I like a bit of variety. And we've got some information, probably not quite 400 words. We've got headlines, that's good, subheadlines. And then what I would be inclined to do is to have that a subheading down here that tells me free no obligation inquiry and emphasizes this phone number, free phone, contact us for a free no obligation discussion, and the email, and or complete the inquiry form and link to that inquiry form on a separate page. So just by looking at a couple of other websites, you can see that the call to action on those pages is not strong enough. It's not telling me exactly what to do. What it is doing is leaving me hanging. And you've seen people doing high fives and being left and embarrassingly putting their hand down going, okay, I feel a bit silly now. I wanted to erase one of those fingers because we're going to see some friends this weekend, and they've got the most beautiful daughter who has had all sorts of complications with her hands, so she only has 4 fingers now. So she doesn't do high fives, she does high fours, and she's a heart melter, bless her. She just never moans about anything, and she's been through so many operations. That's an aside, but I think of her as I see that paw print. So you don't want to leave me hanging, whether we're doing a high 5 or a high 4, doesn't matter. I just don't want you to get a client that is almost at the point of making contact with you, and then they run away because you haven't told them exactly what they need to do. The worst thing, you've got them so close. They found your website because you put all that great content on there. They like what they read, and then they go, oh, I don't really know what I should do. I don't know if it'll cost me if I get in touch. There's no easy way to get in touch. I know what, I'll go back to my Google search. Still got it open, and I'll find the next lister on the list. So you don't want to be doing that. You've got to have, at the end of every page, just think, don't leave me hanging. Tell me exactly what to do. And the difference is that when you do this, you get free extra profit costs. Now, if I just sold free extra profit costs, and I said, for £5 you can have £100 worth of profit costs, at what point would you get bored of giving me £5? Would that time ever come, or would it just keep coming my way? Because I think you might just keep giving me £5 notes, and it wouldn't be very good for me. But basically, this is the same thing on your website. I'm telling you that you make these changes, you can have free extra profit costs. Is that a good thing? Would you like free extra profit costs? Because that's the difference. Let me tell you, I make, as I've told you before, I'm very good at making the mistakes I tell my clients not to make. So on the claims website that we administer for our members, First Claims, we didn't have calls to action on every page. We changed that very quickly, and the difference it made was about a percentage in conversion. Now, if you think that, if you have 100 visits leads to 1 inquiry, but as soon as you put a call to action on each page, that leads to 2 inquiries per 100 visits, and then you're getting more traffic anyway. That makes a massive difference in terms of free extra profit cost for you. So, I share with you information which we use, which we work. These things are all good, and these things could all be changed very quickly so that you can get these results. Will you? Do you have currently calls to action on every page? Is it clear? Are there many different ways that I can get in touch with you? Excuse me. Do you make it really, really simple for me to make these changes? And if you don't, what difference do you think that would make if suddenly you made these changes, you started getting more inquiries to your website because you just made it easier to make these changes for your client, for your clients to get in touch with you? You can stay on the left, and you can keep your website exactly as it is. You can go back from your sandwich today, make no changes, and still be on the left, not getting enough inquiries, or you can start to change things now and do this the right way. I'm pushing you because I want you to make the changes that will make you get on and see what a difference this can make to you. So the point I wanted to emphasize here, when you make these changes, you're not just making them one-off changes. When you make it, the other good thing about a website is, the reason I love mine is because it brings me new prospects every day. They download my free guide, they come on webinars, they talk to me, and some of them work with me, some don't. But it's all done. They come to me, and once you make a change to your website, the beauty of it over and above every other form of marketing is that change is made forever. So if it improves things forever, and it brings you clients forever on a monthly basis. And this is all we're trying to achieve for you. So these changes are good things, and they make things happen for you on a consistent and ongoing basis. So are you going to make the changes? That's the question that only you can answer. Are you going to make things improve, or you're going to go away with the best intentions but let that slip? I don't want it to be the latter. Couple more questions I've had in. Do I know anybody that can help with coding on our website? Yes, I do. Got lots of people email me after the show, as they say. I'll be happy to help. And the other question is, what about if you've got lots of different areas of law? Should you have lots of different websites with domain names for those areas of law? Or should it have its own, or should it just be a part of a large website? Two-stage answer for that one. Good question. Thank you. Two-stage answer is, one is, until your first main website is really, 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 really good, until it's really good, don't do anything else. Get your main website having beautiful content, lots of content in each section, so there's enough content for me to find you, enough content for me to believe that you're an expert in the area of law that you practice. And at that point, if you think, yes, done everything we can here, then by all means go off and put up what we call niche websites, focusing on specific areas of law, and that will be fine. Okay, but what you don't want to do is try and do 6 websites at once, and you try and control them all, and none of them really grow, so you've got 6 ineffective websites instead of 1 really good one. So that's my advice for that two-stage approach. When you've hit the ceiling of traffic and you can't get any more visitors each month, by all means then go off and look at doing niche, and that can work. But the mistake most people make is they run off far too quickly, and they don't therefore get the results they want. Someone says, can you show us an example of a website that's everything you would want to see apart from yours? No. This is really interesting. Great question again. I was writing the main feature of my Marketing for Solicitors monthly circular just 2 months ago. So I thought, this is a good point. I was doing all about websites, as we're talking about now, and I was running my website lead generation system. So I Googled 50 I looked at the first results for 50 law firms I looked at the top 50 results. I think I chose employment solicitors, and I said, right, I'm going to find a website that's got everything, because I believe there will be one in the top 50. And at 50 there still wasn't. At 60 there wasn't. No one does it all as I found some big firms in there, some really good firms that no doubt spend a fortune on their websites. And most of them, they didn't have calls to action at the end of the page. They didn't have inquiry forms that were easily accessible. They didn't have enough copy on some of the pages, or the copy was not presented in a nice way that appeals to those that like reading long copy and those that like to skip headlines. So no, I have yet to find one. If I ever do, I'll let you know. Obviously, I'd say Sansa Consulting is different from yours, because whereas you're trying to generate instant inquiries, I'm not. Generally, people like to read my advice before they instruct me, so I don't try and say pick up the phone and get in touch with me, because I want to make sure the client's right for me and I'm right for the client. And you find that out quite quickly when you receive my bullshit emails and you think, okay, yeah, he wants me to get on with it, I need someone like that to help me get on with it. Or you think, oh no, he might make me do something. Yes, in that case I will, and I wouldn't be the right person to work with you. I don't do fluffy wuffy. I do action and results. That's all I'm interested in. So for me it's different. I'm looking for people that will take time to make that decision. You're looking for instant instructions. So let's crack on to part 3. I want more of your leads to become more clients, and this is vital, because if you do the first parts well, your phone's going to ring more, and this part you can have real problems. You can make real mistakes here. And again, that's certainly not something I want you to be doing, because I want you to be getting as much through your door as you can. So you get all these phone calls coming through, and something's going wrong. So it would be like these chaps doing their job every day here. They've got their bucket full of water to clean the window. They fill it, and it's all good. They check that their rope's quite secure, because the last thing they want to do is fall 100 flights down and have an accident, which might lead to a claim for you, but wouldn't be so good for them. and they go over the side and they get down, oh, we're on the 32nd floor today, from 100 they go down to the 32nd floor, get down there and realize their bucket is full of leaks and all of the water is gone. They have to go back up and do it again. And this part of the process is the same for you. You can do all of this work we talked about, get more leads coming through. If you don't turn up your, improve your conversion of inquiries into clients, you have wasted all that time, and it's woeful and painful for me to see it because it happens so often. So you've got to make sure you're not making mistakes. You've got to fix your leaks so you get the happy people and not the unhappy people that are frustrated because they've made the decision to contact you. They've almost semi-chosen you as a lawyer, and you've failed in your follow-up process that makes things happen. You've got to have in place watertight systems that turns those leads into inquiries, and then that turns those inquiries into new clients. So where are your leaks? What's going wrong at the moment that you're not doing? Start from the position of the client. We get so wrapped up in what we do that we forget the client's journey. So think about your client. They've got a problem of some sort. They need legal help. They decide to get in touch with you. At that point, you know, they might have gone online, they found you, they've chosen you, they get in touch. But what they need is speed, because clients these days are far more impatient than clients used to be. You used to be able to say to a client, okay, I'll call you back in a week and we'll get set up a meeting. That doesn't happen anymore, does it? You know, if you can wait an hour, you're lucky. You've got to act really quickly, and you've got to bind that new client to you like glue, so that even if you don't want them as a client, they decide that you are the firm that they really should be having help them, and if they can't get you, they're let down. So the areas that are major problems there, if you think about it from a client's point of view, and let me just give you an example of some of the calling I've done in my time, both pretending to be a client and as a real client trying to get a quote from a solicitor. The first point is I pick up the phone and it might not be answered quickly enough. That's probably about 9 out of 10 law firms where the phone's not answered quickly enough, so that needs improving. Secondly, I get a receptionist that's a Rottweiler that immediately says to me, I say, I need to speak to someone about moving house. Which fee earner do you want to speak to? Well, I don't know. What does fee earner mean? That's an alien term to me because I'm a human being, not a solicitor. That's a strange term, isn't it? It's the worst term, fee earner. I mean, that really does tell your staff what you want them to do. So I've been asked for a fee earner. When I don't know the fee earner's name, well, you can speak to Debbie or Bob. Which one do you want? I don't know. I'm a new client. You finally get put through to one of them, and they say, have you got a case? Oh, if you might have been asked for a case reference. What? I'm just phoning up for a quote. You've got all these problems. Now, I've gone from being someone that's really interested in your firm to someone who's any minute now going to put this phone down. So how your call is answered and transferred is vital. You know, the level of interrogation I'm going to get from your initial staff, and then the problem of transfer. Will the fee earner take the call, or will they say, oh, I'm a bit too busy at the moment, I'll come back to you? That's not going to be good for me. And then the key part of all this, you know, will you show me empathy? Will you listen to my actual challenge? And you know, I've had occasions where I've been talking, but you can hear all the solicitors thinking is, look, this is our price, this is what we do. Do you want us or not? You've got to bind with me, because otherwise I'm gone. This day and age, I'm a fickle client. I'm not loyal. I'm not using a family solicitor I've used for 50 years. You've got to sell yourself to me. And the best way of doing that is you know, thinking about the fact that we've got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen to the client. Find out what their big challenge is, what their big concern is, and repeat that back to them and show empathy. So that's a major part. And then the other part where people fall down is following up. And most people I speak to, they send an email if the client's lucky, and that is it, and the client is just expected to come back. Are you serious? This could be a client that could be giving you £200, £500, £1,000, £10,000 in fees, and they get 1 email. They're not getting a follow-up phone call to check that all their questions are being answered. They're not getting 2 follow-up phone calls, 5, 10. The follow-up process can massively put extra money into your bank account. One of my solicitors had a very very poor system for following up his leads. Made him systemize it, made it be the same every time with a very strong follow-up. And that changed improvement to 50% a conversion of leads to clients. And when you bear in mind that to his business, you know, that was worth £1,000, £1,500 per client, that is a massive difference on the bottom line to his figure. He didn't change any of his other marketing. It was just client conversion, and it sold the client, and the follow-up procedure was much better, and he got new instructions. So again, you know, what are your numbers? How many people are failing to give you the instruction? You might not need parts 1 and 2 today. You might be letting people just fall through your leaking bucket because the system you have in place for giving a quote, following up, is just not good enough and not tight enough to make it work. Now, the whole point of you being here today is to put in place these systems, and I'll come to questions shortly because I'm conscious of time, but your whole point today is to change this and to improve this and to change, if it's conversion, and if you put in place a better system and suddenly have another £10,000 of profit cost a month, or 2,000 or 1,000 or whatever your figure is, that will make a massive difference to you. So, I'm keen for you to take that action. I'm keen for you to generate more clients monthly, to go from not knowing what you should do, how you should do it, where you should spend your money, which suppliers you should choose. I'm keen to take you away from that position of uncertainty and put you into a position of things where you know exactly what you should be doing. Now, I've shown you 3 simple things you can do today, how you can get more visitors to your website easily, how just making some simple changes, adding some more content can make a massive difference to people finding you, how you can gently nudge those people to get in touch with you and to give you their inquiry, to find out more about your legal services. And then when they do that stage, not letting them slip through your fingers or through that fan, making sure that they turn into new clients for you and become your clients. That's what we're looking to do. So the obvious question I have for you is, are you going to make these changes? How are you going to make these changes? How can you go from where you are now, not having enough clients, to getting to the holy grail of having more clients monthly and consistently? How can you change this so that you get better results more consistently? Well, there's obviously 2 ways. There's 3 ways. You can do nothing. You can do exactly as you're doing now and hope that something will change. I have to say, from the number of calls I get from solicitors, that's not working anymore. It used to work for a lot, and I see so many solicitors bemoaning, new entrants into the legal services market on the Law Society Gazette website and on LinkedIn. And having a go at anyone that's trying anything different. Remember, I said you do need to do things differently if you want to change your position. You need to think different, like Steve Jobs. You can't just do what you've always done. So you can stay with them, but I don't think you're that kind of person, because you wouldn't be on this webinar if you were. You can go off and you can try and test it yourself, trial and error. You can do it slowly and get the results, or of course you can do it a much faster way. Now, if you think about legal services, you can go and get a DIY will from Smith's for about £12, or you can phone a solicitor and get a bespoke will, have it done properly, and make sure that those you love are protected, and you might pay 100, 200, 300 if it's less than 100. Stop doing wills, or just improve your pricing. That's a whole other story which we can talk about another time. Or if you're looking for a business contract, you can go online and you can download it from any number of online providers, or you can have a bespoke contract written, provided for you, make sure it covers all of the problems you've got and all the challenges you face. Which would you choose? Which would I choose? Obviously, we choose the other. We want it done for you, and my More Clients Monthly program is about doing it with you and making sure you don't make these mistakes. And I'm not, like I said to you, I'm not trying to sell you that program today. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to explain to you what you can do to change things. So there's a solution for you, and he's realizing he hasn't pulled the phone out of its socket at this point. Apologies for that. So the More Clients Monthly program is designed to explain to you how you can go from where you are now to where you want to be quickly. It's a tried and tested system to get you there, and to make sure that you don't waste time, money, and your precious effort in the wrong places. It is not for everyone. If you really are not in a position that you want to take action now, you think you want to change things but you're not sure, you're okay, something's got to change but you're not quite ready for it, definitely not for you. It is for you if you are fully committed to finally making the changes you should be making, pushing things on and getting things happening on a consistent basis. Okay, so it's not for everyone, and I make no apology for that. I want it to work, but it is a system that will tell you how to get you from having peaks and troughs of client instructions going up and down, one month having a good month, the other month looking around thinking, where's my next client coming from? It is a system that will give you your quickest wins. I will show you, rather than you thinking, well, I've got that general advice, I will give you bespoke marketing action plans, show you exactly what you need to do to get from A to B, and how you need to get there, and how to get these quick results. I will show you how to put in place automated marketing systems so that you get a consistent, steady stream of new inquiries. And I'll show you how to avoid, one of the biggest things I think that I do is I stop people spending money in the wrong places and wasting their time, because we've already established your time is precious, your money is precious. So many solicitors waste the best part of their marketing budget in wholly the wrong places. So I make sure that doesn't happen. If you've got more questions, please put them in. I'm going to come to them. just in a moment. I won't leave you hanging. I will go through them all. So don't make those mistakes. I don't want you making mistakes, choosing the wrong suppliers, going in the wrong place. There's the right way to do things the wrong way, tried and tested versus experimental. Experimental is not good. All I'll say when it comes to the financial is self-funding. What I mean is you'll get back more than you put into it in terms of fees, and you get those fees on an ongoing basis even when you stop working with me. So price is never the issue. Just making that decision to get on and move things and change things is the problem. You've got to change that. I got to do it at some point. I want to do it now. And now's a great time to do it because it means that you'll have in place systems so that at the start of next year, you're ahead of the pack and you're starting to make progress before anyone else is thinking about January time normally. Well, perhaps I ought to do something else. It really was the worst year I've ever had last year. Changing things now is the right time to do it. You start to get new clients, new instructions, you become very happy. That's not a bad problem to have, but the problem is making that decision to actually do something. And all I want you to do today, if you're thinking this might be of interest, is just to talk with me. One-on-one, have a chat. I can explain more about it. More importantly, I can give you some bespoke marketing advice, talk you through what you should be doing for your practice to make things better, so that you can see quick changes, quick results, and improve things. Now, some of you might say, that's enough, I don't need any more. Others might say, yeah, okay, Nick, I want you to help me through this. And that's obviously what I would be delighted to do. So the worst case is you get some free bespoke advice. The best case is you get someone that actually makes sure you do things in the right way as quickly as possible and you get the results. So let's come on to those questions now, which I will open back up. So if you want to talk to me, there's the link to October. You will see a page like this. I'll put that in the box for you. And then I'll come to your questions. So you will see a page like that when you click October, and you can book straight into my diary there a time to talk. There's even one later today, I think, then there's some tomorrow and some early next week. Let me come back over to questions. I've got a couple. Any more questions for anyone else, please fire them in. I'll be delighted to answer them, whether it's about working with me, whether it's about the webinar, about questions that we've covered. I've got a couple more website domains, so let's see if I can find one of these websites that has everything we want on it. Let's go to I covered BBH tonight. Next one on the list. Are we going to get a winner of the day? Someone that's got it all. Solicitors in Mid Wales, Million Jenkins and Jenkins. Let's go to a services page. Let's go to conveyancing. Had a good one. Okay, so we've got good information on here. Definitely enough information. This part I'll probably put down the bottom. I think we're trying to use the tags to get us more traffic, but it doesn't make sense to me as a member of the public. Got nice headlines. Probably put a few bullet points to break up the copy. And then who do I contact? I always find that a bit confusing because I might not at this point want a specific person. I just want to get in touch. So sometimes I say you can either speak to a specific person or call us and go from there. So some good things on there, certainly making it easy for me to get in touch with you. Let's go to Karen, and Karen's instructed me that I have to be nice. I only ever try and be nice, and when I'm giving out medicine, it's only because I want to make you better. That's good. That's my error. Hello, Karen. You're the one from Naba, aren't you? I believe you are. There you are. Hello, Karen. Fine. Well, I'm going to be nice. We could be making it. The website's very wide, so it should really sit in the middle like the other sites we saw, probably about that width. If we go into one of the service pages, we've got plenty of content, but it's really hard to. Wow. Okay, that's. Detailed divorce, that's probably, I'd have that as a separate guide, and this needs to be more about how Karen O'Neill will help me through divorce, how you'll explain to me what I need to do, the problems I'm going to come up against, how you'll solve them with your expertise. And if you made that content much smaller and had a call to action inquiry form on the right hand side, that would help. There's so much information there that's going to make me think, oh, you're going to talk to me about law, and I don't want to do that. So there's definitely changes there. I'd have the content on there, but I'd have a separate page about your divorce services. Again, we've got some bullet points on there, lots and lots of legal information. with no call to action at the bottom. So there's definitely some changes we can make there for the better, Karen. And where's the other questions? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Thompson's. Should we be doing more like Thompson's? Let's have a look at Thompson's and make that choice. Should we be more like that? Big firm, probably got their own IT department. Good news for smaller firms who are generally my clients is that means you can actually beat them and get quick results, and we see that a lot. A lot of information, so definitely cover the 400 words bit. We've got strong calls to action on the right. I think that might actually hit one of those bits that I sometimes hit, having too much information and not being sure where to go. So there's always room for improvement. Testimonials we got, pictures got, so there's a lot of good information on there which will help me to make the right decision. So I think I've covered everyone on the list, and there's no more questions, but have a chat with me. If you think I can help you get to the next stage more quickly, and you are at that point where you've had enough of not making the changes that you know you need to make to improve things, then please, go to samsonconsulting.co.uk/October, choose a time that suits your diary for you and me to have a chat. Let me explain where I think you'll get the biggest wins, and then you can make the decision whether you'd like to work with me or not. It's completely up to you. But this is what I do. I think hopefully you've seen that I know something about what I'm talking about, and hopefully you'll think if I work with Nick, I could actually get some much better results more quickly, and that would be a good thing. So if that any part of it has made you think, go to /October from my website, fill in a time, and you and I will have a chat, and we will cover everything you want covered and make sure that you know exactly how I could help you, and then you choose. There's no hard sell. There's never a hard sell. I don't need to. At the point that we have a chat, you either decide, yes, this is for me, or no, it's not, and off we go. If you have any other questions after the event, feel free to give me an email. I'll happily answer them. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you for your time today. I hope you have found it useful. Thank you to those that you have already said you have. And I look forward to speaking with you in the near future. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks all.